Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Dawn Palmer. She wears the best glasses in the whole wide world and carries them off beautifully. And today we are going to be talking about difficult conversations. We've spoken about this before, haven't we, Dawn, and how conversations, especially around mental health, feel quite contrived. There seems to be like a script that you need to follow. And that can be quite daunting. And I know you and I are on the same page when we think it doesn't have to be like that. So what are your thoughts? How would you start those conversations?
Well, something that I have said on a number of occasions at different meetings and workshops. Do you know the hardest conversation you will ever have is probably the conversation you never have, because you have a habit of playing it all out in your head and deciding that someone's going to feel you're either being intrusive or it's this or it's that, when actually sometimes it's about being absolutely honest. And I'm not very good at rules. You might have noticed.
No, you don't say.
Possibly. And I'm not very good at rule books. And everyone's an individual. And it's coming back to finding a level of rapport. That's my in, if you like.
Yeah.
And if you can see somebody's really busy and what have you, to try and stop them in a lovely, gentle, fluffy way is just going to be hugely irritating.
Yes.
And very often it is that whole, okay, got time for a cup of tea or whatever. And it's just allowing them, point out, oh, isn't it lovely? We've just stopped. Can you hear that? Nothing's happening. Marvelous. And it's taking their mind away from it and just allowing them to chat. It doesn't have to be about the problem, what's on their mind. It is allowing them to feel, okay, I've switched off for 5 minutes. This is cool. And if they start to talk, please never be frightened of a pause.
Absolutely.
A pause is time for processing, and it's a time for thought. And somewhere in our head, I imagine I literally have a little man on those ladders in the library going around finding different answers. And he needs time to go and access those. And unfortunately, we seem to live in a day and age where people feel compelled to fill every silence. And there's a default, because you could say something quite innocent. Oh, did you have a good weekend? Were you able to get in the garden? And they tend to start it with, oh, I don't really know, but yes. So what I did, I found the seeds in the shed. And it's like, why didn't we just wait until you got to finding the seeds in the shed?
Yeah.
People are frightened of pause. And I'm ridiculously old school, and all my training years ago, there are so many different kinds of pause, and they're there for a reason.
I absolutely agree. I was always taught that as well, that pauses can be valuable. But I think also, if you just let somebody to start to talk, like you say, in a really casual way, it builds up an element of trust as well. It starts that, oh, actually, this person's interested in what I've got to say. And then it kind of naturally encourages them to open up about maybe other issues that are going on.
Absolutely. And sometimes, it can just be a quick message, everything okay? Sun's out. I hope you're enjoying it. Or, it doesn't have to be addressed in any sort of formal way. It's letting them know that you're there.
Yeah.
And that you are a listener. And I have a huge issue with so many people that all they want to do is ask the questions. But it's like, listen to them answering.
Absolutely. My mum used to say to me, God gave me one of these and two of these for a reason. That was one of the things that she would say.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And it's actively, if you're listening, what are you doing with it? Now, you can keep it safe. That's fine. It's a confidence. Or you can, if you have the skills or the capacity to do it, help them to reiterate some of the stuff they're saying at some point. And they actually, oh my gosh, yeah, I keep saying that, don't I? So it's,
and I think sometimes, especially when we're talking about mental health issues, I think people that they kind of want to have the conversations, they kind of want to help, but they're a little bit scared because they don't think they're going to be able to solve the problem. And I think maybe a lot of people need to understand that listening does go part way to solving the problem, certainly supporting the individual. And as friends, as colleagues, we're not there to fix the person. We're just there to support them. Do you agree? Do you think that's right?
No, I absolutely agree. And I think it's facilitating how they can strive towards that. Or sometimes, you know what, we're just holding up a great big mirror and we're shining a light saying, actually, what you're seeing as the problem isn't quite as important as sorting this bit out.
Mm.
You know, things can become the catalyst quite easily. And I think this is where I will just initiate a conversation. And it's really quite generic, but it's being able to come across in such a way that they don't just think you're being nosy. That's
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice if people feel that you are invested in what they're saying, and that you care about what they're saying, and you're not just,
and they feel remembered.
Mm.
Hugely important.
Mm.
Hugely important.
It's funny you say that. When I worked on the buses, I couldn't always remember people's names. A lot of the time I could, but sometimes I would think, oh, that bloke saw me the other day and his wife wasn't very well. So I would just go up and say, oh, how's your wife doing? And I think things like that are important.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, massively so. Because so often we just have these horrible situations where it all kind of grinds to a halt and everybody feels a bit edgy when they're a human being. You know, what you're doing. Oh, last time I saw you, you wore this or had that or drove that, or, you know, there's always something that you create that link. And it doesn't have to be grandiose.
It is important to making people feel safe, for want of a better word. And people knowing that they can come to you and say, do you know what, Dawn, I'm not having a great day today. And you're not going to be like, oh God, I can't help. You're just going to be like, well, come on then, what's going on? And I love that. I absolutely love that.
And I think that's really important, you know. And the other thing is, if you really want to help someone, have the time for them. Because if they start to open up, you can't be there with a clock ticking.
Yeah, it's
if they
worse.
really do start to, do you know what I mean?
Nothing worse, is there, than listening to somebody's secrets and the person you're telling them to is going, oh, what time is it? Or what time is it?
Yeah. And, you know, it is about, you literally lose that time because they are all of a sudden, hopefully, at a point where stuff is starting to be vocalized. And the other thing is, please remember, not everybody has the words. Not everybody has the vocabulary to identify how they're feeling. So, you know, it's fine if you're trained in all the stuff that we're trained to do, but a lot of people aren't. And they're going to feel shattered. I love it because if someone's really been down that road with me, I normally get a message the next day, oh, I'm not sleep well.
Excellent. So, Dawn, 30 seconds, top tip for starting a conversation.
Oh, literally, normally wielding a kettle or a coffee pot or whatever. Do you know, be doing something else. Don't make it directional.
Oh, that
you
is
know, it can't just be weather's great. How about 10-minute tea break? Unofficial tea break. You know, make it light.
Yeah, that is perfect. Fun. Absolutely perfect. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me.
Absolute pleasure.
And I expect people will certainly take that on board. And please, people, just start talking to each other. Have a lovely Wednesday.
And listen to them.
Listen to them. Have a lovely Wednesday.